All right, well, thanks for joining us today. Basically, what we're going to do is just review the Shutter program and hopefully just familiarize you with what we have to offer and give you a little jump start on some of the samples that are coming to you, and also give you some insights into some of the feedback we've been getting. And so just appreciate you making the time today. So real quickly, our website is really valuable, and that's why I have it up first. For all of us that are out on the road, and sometimes we don't have these things at our fingertips, one of the great areas in this is our resources. And I don't know if you can see, I'm clicking on the screen. I'm going to go to the download section. And basically, I can go down if I'm interested in shutters, or a customer's interested in shutters, they can pull it up on their computer, or you can pull it up on your phone, and you have all of this at your fingertips. So you've got your price list, you've got your shutter styles and hardware, which is your catalog, you have your warranty, you have your paint colors, and then you have your shutter component views. And so I just was going to walk through that a little bit. And all of this, the reason I'm doing this is because this is what's at your fingertips. It's real easy to bring up. It's easy for your customer to bring up if you're talking about it. So when I go to that and I click on that, here's the shutter brochure, and just give you some idea. I want to make sure you can see that. And it gives you basically all the information that I will basically cover today. So INTEX shutters are engineered out to perform wood, polypropylene, polyethylene, and aluminum shutters for a fraction of the cost. So our product is made from a cellular PVC wood cellulose product. So all your rails and styles of the product, as well as the louver slats, are made from this cellular PVC wood cellulose product. The wood cellulose, what it does is it reduces the expansion and contraction and allows us to be able to make this product so it'll perform, especially when painted dark colors. So it just reduces expansion and contraction rate. So the shutter styles we're offering, we have a beaded raised panel shutter. I'm going to zoom in on this here. Here's my, can I zoom in? There we go. So because I want to show you this a little bit. See if I can scroll. All right. So right, if you can see the screen and I'm circling my arrow, you see that little bead there. So you see that definition. We also offer this, if you go to the far right, in a square edged. So you've got a raised panel option where you can have a square edged on one side, and then on the back side is just a flat panel shaker. So you basically have a shaker panel, a reversible shutter with each one, except with the louvers. So if you're ordering a panel shutter, you're going to have a raised panel on one side, and you're going to have a shaker panel on the other. And they basically can use them interchangeably depending on what style they want. But you do have the option of picking a beaded edge right here or having a square edge. And then the louver simply is basically an open louver functional shutter. So let me scroll down a little bit. So give you some shutter components. The material is 1¼ inch. Top rails are 2 3/4. Your mid rail 2 13/16. But this shows you all of that in this diagram. So 4 3/8 bottom rails, and then for the panel ones, you have a 4 inch bottom rail versus 4 3/8. And you can see the different. Let me zoom out just a little bit. This one shows, basically 2 panels with a mid rail in each one, and then the louvers. Basically, you have a top louver section, and then a mid rail and a bottom louver section. Down below here, you see louver shutters available, 24 inches wide to 120 inches tall. Make size widths. That stuff I don't really understand, the 5/8 specified size, but it has to do with where mid rail can be located on a louver shutter. Because the slat is a certain size, there's only going to be certain places that you're going to be able to locate that mid rail. And you don't really need to know that. Our office will calculate that and figure that out when you have an opportunity. Additionally, in the raised panel, you have the same options, and then you have 1/2 inch increments with that to specify mid-rail locations. But again, it'll be something we will work out as we get into your opportunities. So let me see here. All shutters are available in a single panel widths, 10-inch to 24-inch and quarter-inch increments. So shutters, they're made to cut order and made to custom size. We have stainless steel powder-coated hardware and systems available. Panel with a premium acrylic coating, including dark colors. Historically accurate. I know that this has been approved for use in New Orleans, which is a tough market to get anything approved. So I know we can hopefully make some hay in some of the other historical markets you guys cover. Termite proof, available in 11 pre-finished color options, approved for historical restoration, louver and panel shutter styles, fully operable, will not rot or warp. And then you see the basic hardware package that we have. So you've got over here on the left, basically your two hinges and your pintles, which they sit on. And this is your mid-rail hinge. And then you've got these back plates for mounting. And a lot of this stuff, guys, when I go through it, because we're going to go through a little bit more, it's all going to seem a little more to take in than you can take in. Because there's a lot of subtle nuances to this. But I found once I was able to stand in front of a window with a shutter in hand and look at the different hinge options and those sorts of things, it started to really come together and make sense. But again, your job is, if you guys get us the opportunity and get it into our office, we'll work through that with the contractors and your customers. Mind you, a lot of your customers that sell shutters, they already know this stuff fairly well because they've dealt with it. So you have 4 New York L-style hinges, 2 lefts, 2 rights. Sorry, I had a call come in. 2 lefts, 2 rights, mounting screws included, 2 shutter dogs, which are these in your B, with mounting brackets, 1 left, 1 right, with mounting screws. You have 2 New York mid-rail hinges, that's this here. And then you've got 6 pintles, which is basically your hinge pin, and then 6 pintle shims, which allow you to shim out the pintle. Different mounting options with ours, and this is just our particular standard hardware. There is a lot more hardware to choose from based on the customer's application. And what I'll do is I'm going to give you guys a website that you can always steer a customer to and say, you know, they can buy their own hinge hardware based on their particular application, but there are a lot of different options out there. And it all has to do with where they're mounting their hinge and how they want their shutter to close into their opening or on the face of their opening. Some will mount on the outside of the brick. Some will have a window set in a brick, but then the window has flat trim around it, and they'll mount to the flat trim. So there's a host of different ways that people will end up mounting their shutters. So there's several types of different hardware that kind of show you that will, you know, allow you to accomplish what they need to accomplish. But we can't just have all that. It's just don't know what everybody's application is. So, but we try to get all that information up front and try to share with them what we do have. And then if we don't have exactly what they need for their particular application, the key is we can send them to a place where they can get what they need. So you can see here, decorative surface application. Again, they say decorative, so not really functional. So the shutter in the open position is going to lay against the wall. And then in the closed position, it's going to lay out in front of the window a good distance, because here's your window back here. And then in the decorative surface application on a brick mold, so they're mounting it in behind the brick mold here. I don't know what I just did there. Okay. In behind the brick mold here, and then in the open position, laying flat against the wall here, and then it's still leaving a lot of space between the shutter and the window. In some cases, same thing with here, surface application. You're in the open position, you can see this sticks out a little bit and probably actually would be slanted and held back by a shutter dog on the left. And then when closed, it closes in the closed position, but does not have as much room here. But some people actually will mount their shutters so they're actually inside this opening here. So there's a host of different things that we look for. And when we're doing measurements, basically what you want to know is you want to know from the inside edge to inside edge, top and bottom, side to side of the trim, where the shutter's going to fit. Now, if it's going to sit out on a surface like this, you don't have that problem as much, but you need to know where they're going to locate the in the surface application. You need to locate where they're going to locate their pin in order to determine what size shutter it's going to fit appropriately. And we're assuming that we're having a 1/4 inch gap at every point, so a 1/4 inch gap in the center and on each end. So just so you have some idea of that. But again, it's not that you're going to remember all this. What you need to remember is just getting us the opportunity into the office. And over time, we'll continue to educate you guys, and we'll continue to educate the customers, and we'll make sure that we get it right. So this gives you a little testing information, shows you the expansion and contraction of the product. So at 34 degrees Celsius for 48 hours, we're at 304 millimeters, and then taking it up to 60 degrees Celsius, 298 millimeters. So about a 6-point change there, not enough to really make any difference. And then we have water absorption, just 3.99%, weight before and the weight after. Just showing you that it's not going to rot or deteriorate or really absorb water. Your color styles, this is all in your brochure, so this makes it very easy for you to show the customer the different 11 color options, and as I scroll down there, and just that. But I think that's just important because it's right at your fingertips, right on the website, easy for them to download. Another page that you have is, back. So this is your shutter all component views, and just to show you what it looks like. Basically, it's just showing the top rail and bottom rail. Little thing that I went over before, shows you your beaded edge there versus your square edge and that sort of thing. And that's just available right on the website. Then we're going to go to your colors. You even have your color options all listed there. So all this is right on the website, including your pricing for standard sizes. I don't know if I can get to that one. Okay. You even have your warranty there. So it shows you if they want the warranty, it's right at the website. You just download it, and it's available. This is probably where you're looking for percentage of purchase price less taxes paid. INTEX will pay to warranty claimant related to years of use obtained after date of purchase, material finish. So 0 to 4 years, 100%, and in the first year we cover labor. So then from there, 85, 5 to 7 years is 85%. So it's I guess a prorated warranty out to 15 years, and then we only pay labor in that first year. So here's your price list just for basic standard sizes. And again, this is all right here, right in your website. Makes it very easy to find. And so single, mid-rail, this price, and this is unfinished. So you have the option to get these unfinished as well. Excuse me, as well as you have to get them pre-finished. And gives you basic sizes from 12 inches wide up to 24, and then from 24 inches in height up to 120 inches tall. And then down at the bottom of there, you'll see if you have to add an additional mid-rail in, which in the louvered shutters they do when we go to a 10-foot shutter. So you'll end up with actually 2 mid-rails in that. But our office will go over that with the customer. We'll also probably draw it and show it to them so they know what they're getting and make sure that it's what they want. And then the hardware kit, and basically everything that we talked about in the hardware kit that I showed you before. Where was that? In your literature is basically what we're talking about right there. This is everything that's in your hardware kit right here. So that makes that fairly simple. Then here's a company. You'll notice this is Lynn Cove. They're a foundry, and they make a boatload of shutter hardware. And it's just a place where if you have a customer that is not super familiar with shutters, or you're not super familiar with shutters, this is a good place to get your education. It kind of walks through offsets and what a throw is and all those sorts of things, different surface mounts. See, in this case, you can see this doesn't even look like ours. You've got a big pintle out here with a big angle, and then you're out over this brick. So it just shows a different way that it's going to be mounted versus, what you saw with ours. So there's a lot of different options as to how that's going to set up and how the customer plans to mount their shutters. And this is just a good place for them to go if they need different types of hardware. To give you some little better view of it, you see the three pintles up here at the top. Each one has sort of a different projection, and that's basically accounting for where they're going to mount that pintle and how the shutter is, and whether it's recessed in brick or recessed in brick molding or mounted on a flat surface. And then you can see with the pintles down here, you'll see how these have long angles to them before they get started into the flat part of the hinge, which mounts to the shutter. And each one is set up differently for different projections and based on that. So just to give you some view of that. So just real quickly, the components of a shutter, see if I can make this a little bit more. Let's give you a percenter view. Everybody can see that. All right, so louver shutter, panel shutter. Let's see if I can scroll through this. Yeah. Oh, this thing's got a special thing. So you've got your top rail, a mid rail, a bottom rail, your styles, louvers, raised panels, and horns. You see this down here. This is something that you won't see very often, but from time to time in historic areas, this was a common use, I think, to allow airflow under the shutter and above the sill, so it would reduce the amount of moisture that would collect behind there and allow any moisture and water to run out. Louvered shutters, showing you raised, beaded raised, and then flush raised panel, and then the standard shaker. I'm sticking. I think this gets a little detailed, so let me just. Make height, so the make height, and basically what that is measuring from the top of your inside of your window where you want this shutter to sit. So if it's going to sit on the outside of the trim, then it may be underneath the brick, or it may be. So a lot of times I think what would help is you take a picture of what they're trying to apply it to, and that will also help our office to be able to make sure that we're getting it right. Their size is continued. I don't think that's. You'll see here when I was talking about a couple mid rails and the louvered shutters, when you get to certain sizes, you're going to have possibly two mid rails in there to support that shutter and make sure that it holds together properly when it's in place. Panel shutters can have mid rails placed anywhere within an opening with 1/4-inch increments. Shutters can be built with 0, 1, 2, or 3 mid rails. So if the customer has a particular style that they want, they can also get that. I know with a single mid rail, it doesn't change the price to move the mid rail. So you could have a larger bottom panel or a larger louver section on the bottom and a smaller one on the top if that's what they want. And it really doesn't change the price. Louvered shutters can have mid rails placed in specific locations since the mid rail covers 2 louvers exactly. So basically our mid rail is developed so where the 2 louvers is, we can move it to that and make it there. So typically up to a 44-inch tall, we really don't require a mid rail, and up to 16 inches wide. One is recommended after that. So for 44 inches to 84, we're typically putting a mid-rail in, and that's to 16 inches wide. And then at the 84 inches, you're going to typically get 2 mid-rails from us. So we're not going to make that as an option for the customer once they get to those heights. Yeah. So mid-rails by default are positioned such that the openings or numbers of louvers per opening are equal. So that's what they're saying here, showing that they're equal spaces. Alternately, mid-rail's position can be specified as a distance from the bottom of the shutter to the mid-rail. So from this here, maybe let's click the next one there. When specifying louver shutters, mid-rail positions, the mid-rail must cover at least 2 louvers exactly. Therefore, the available position. But again, our office will work that out, with your customer and make sure that we're providing with them. So these little things are called horns. Just in case we can reiterate that again. Sometimes called tails or feet, or vertical style extensions at the bottom of the shutter. And so we do offer that, and that's only in the louver that we see it. Excuse me. So if horns are applied, their dimension is included in the overall height. And basically the reason is if the horns are long, they're not going to close. So you're still assuming this is the total make height that you want from the bottom of the horn to the top. And I think, escape out of that. Now, do we have any questions? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Everybody's pretty quiet.
Hey, Ned, this is Stephen Davis.
Yes, sir.
So outside of the Atlantic Classic collection, what would be the other big competitors to this shutter?
There really isn't anybody making the. All right, so let me go back to that. So the Atlantic Premium Architectural Collection is the one that we're probably most competitive against. It's they make an 1.25 inch shutter in their Architectural Collection. So if you go to the Atlantic Premium series, and they have 3 different options there. You have a Pro series, an Architectural series, etc. The only one we're really going to be competitive against is the Architectural, which is the highest end shutter that they make. And we should be roughly 10% under them in cost. Okay. So when somebody says Atlantic, don't be, you gotta make sure you ask those questions because you don't want to waste your time. You won't be competitive, excuse me, against the Pro series. It's a 1 inch thick product, and just not as high a quality in a lot of regards. So they're not really comparable.
But aren't the Atlantic shutters approved for hurricane shutters?
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they've gotten that done. I know that it's something that it's in the works, but we don't have that approval yet. But I can tell you I'm being asked for it every day.
But that's what these coastal areas. These coastal areas. And what about Southern Shutters and Pro-K? I think both of those are making PVC shutters.
I haven't seen any of their product, at least not yet. So I really wasn't aware that they were doing that. But if they are, then they would be directly competitive. I don't know if they're making an 1.25 inch shutter. So I need to dig into that and maybe follow up with some more information on that. And if you have any, please share it with us. Just like anything else, this is a new product line for us as well. And we're still learning about some of the competitive products out there that really compete. The only one I've really run up against is Atlantic. The feedback on Atlantic from my initial go around with some of the shutter samples and that sort of thing has been that Atlantic is not a great customer service company. They make a good product, but a lot of times it arrives damaged, and maybe they don't package it well enough. So there's the feedback I get from customers that have been using them are it's not the best it could be. Hopefully we can take advantage of some of that. Atlantic offers a touch-up kit. We don't have that yet. It is something that's on our to-do list, but all of our products are painted with a Sherwin-Williams paint. So it's not, the customer can go down to the store and basically order up the color and get the same color and do any touch-up they need to do, if that's the case. Other styles that are on the horizon for us will be board and batten and Bahama, but currently we don't have them. Additionally, we do not have a radius top shutter yet, but those are all things that are on the horizon, and we're working on them. And
hey Ned, this is Jeremy.
Yes.
I asked about a board and batten shutter. Have y'all talked about that anymore this week, or?
We've talked about it, but it's just not. We're not at a point where we can take it on.
Okay.
It's just got to get through this first phase of just working out the bugs of louvers and panels and making sure that we're getting the best quality product out the door and making sure we understand it. So it's going to be just a walk before we run type thing. I would say probably by the next year, I would think we would have it. Just because we're getting a lot of demand for both of those, board and batten and Bahama, as well as we're being asked about hurricane shutters all the time. So it's going to have to be addressed, and I know that they're working on it, but I can't give you exact timing. But I would think by the end of the year, hopefully we'll be moving in that direction.
Ned, this is Michael. Let me ask the whole group. Everybody should have gotten the email from BoSync, and it had a list down there of the dealers that would be actually receiving these displays. I'm not sure. Matthew Hamby is on the call, but he was going to send you these. Matthew, are you sending the shutters to the individual reps or to their customers, the samples?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Those will be shipping out the week after next, and we are shipping those on a pallet of other goodies to a customer location of their choosing. And the TMs can collect those there, and they'll be placing those where they decide they're going to put them.
Okay.
To speak to the shutter samples, what we're getting in the shutter sample is you're getting one paneled shutter and one louvered shutter in a set, pre-finished, and on those shutters are a color swatch. An INTEX logo is stapled to one side or glued to one side, and then you've also got your color options on the other. It's not hinged. It's something that's you carry around and you kind of try to leave in a prominent place, and that's just where we are right now. So, but that's what you're going to be getting.
Hey Ned, it's Gary. Can I ask a question regarding testing? So
Yes.
on the pre-decorated ones, on the colored ones, especially with the raised panel, I could think about expansion and contraction, and there might be a little gap over there, kind of where that bevel goes into the groove.
Mm-hmm.
What's been your experience with that? Have there been some testing in warm areas where it's going to expand and contract?
This material, has been used in a lot of warm climates. This is actually the panel itself. I need to talk to that. So hold on one sec. The the material for the raised panel is not a cellular PVC. It's actually an MDF panel. And we're using that because it doesn't expand and contract. And it's exactly for that purpose. With the louvers, we're not seeing any problem at all, and they are getting glued in place. Same with the panels; they're actually being glued so that they don't float and don't move. I had some samples come out initially where they were floating, and the panel actually just shifted in the pocket. Not that it expanded and contracted or anything, but just shifted. And you definitely, obviously see the paint line then. But I can't say that I've had enough experience or we've had enough exposure out there to really give you a good answer to that, other than we're working with a manufacturer that's been using this product and pushing it out in all different climates and areas and having great success with it. The testing we've done internally, we feel very good about. The samples you're going to get are also like a dark black green. It's customer wants to put that outside to see how it goes. I think you'd obviously see some good results.
Yeah, just to confirm, the composition of the louver shutter is going to be all PVC, or is it have some type of wood flour or wood fibers in it?
It has wood cellulose in it. Yep.
Wood cellulose. Yep. Thank you. That's what I need a clarification on. Yep. That's like wood cellulose.
Yeah. But it actually looks like a cedar board. So it's kind of an interesting product, and we're sanding it, finishing it, and cutting it, milling it, doing all the things you think with wood. The joints come together really just like a nice wood cedar shutter or a redwood shutter, and look very nice in place. Finishes up really nice. Louver slat, bless you. Louver slats are also made of the same material. So in this case, because you're not stocking this, it's made to order. I assume, Matthew, you guys probably have a multiplier, or I don't know how you would put out a price list.
We do not use multipliers or price lists.
Yes. So I don't know how that works with a custom. So it would be by quote, right? And then you work from there.
That would be correct.
Yep. Okay. One of the other things that is also coming out, and I want to show this to you, but we have the let me get rid of that. That's not what I want. So we're sending you some knockdown easy wrap samples, and we're just going to have the easy wrap sample itself. The thought process is we have a lot of builders out there that are building these on site. They look terrible, and really it's the shaft of the column that really just looks terrible. The base of the column right now, what I see out there is really a 1x6 and a 1x3 at the bottom and the top. And so we've had a lot of interest, at least up in the markets here, that all we need to do is provide them with an easy way to put the shaft together so that it looks a lot better than what they're doing currently. Up here, what they do is they're butt joining them. They're not mitering the joints, they butt join them. So the cells of the edge of the board are showing. They don't align them very well. You see a lot of nail holes, and they're having to fill it with putty and paint it, all that kind of thing. So the knockdown easy wrap is a 3/8 material. It's got a lock miter that basically goes together as a lock joint, and comes in a lot of different sizes to choose from. And basically on the sample, you're going to have a label that's going to show you all the sizes that are available, 8, 9, and 10 foot. And then you're going to have the different widths from 4.5 all the way up to a 9-inch wide product. But you're going to be getting this knockdown easy wrap flat pack. What's nice about it, guys, is I know when I was showing it with Stephen, some interest was developed because of it's a flat pack. It's easier to store. It doesn't take up as much space. You know, a lot of the lumber yards are struggling with that. So to be able to have a column wrap that, you know, stores very well, is in a flat pack, easy to handle, easy to ship, and the guy basically just throwing some 1x6 or 1x3 around the top and bottom. It's sort of the perfect product, well worth the money, and saves them a lot of time, I think, on the job site, and produces a better quality product. So we think you're going to have some great success with it. I know just in my short travels, it's getting a lot of response.
And that you will each have one sample coming on that pallet Matthew's talking about. And then in the warehouse very soon, we'll have 5 more samples for each of you that you can order.
Right. And it does not come with a trim ring, guys. It comes it's just a shaft only. That's the whole deal. And the reason is the guys are they're just using that 1x product that's left over on the job site, and they're making the caps and bases right there. So we're just offering the shaft. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you taking the latter part of your Friday afternoon to join us and just go over shutters a little bit. And any more questions?